All right, we're live.
Awesome.
I've got to cancel the Pennsylvania, what is it? Worker withholding tax, employer withholding.
Yeah, oh gosh, they've been hounding us. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. I finally called them and they're like, you have to fill out a cancellation form. I'm like, I don't have any employees. He's like, it doesn't matter. I'm like, why are you sending me a form for like, there's no employees? He's like, you have to fill out a cancellation form. I'm like, okay, just cancel it. And he's like, no, you have to fill out a cancellation. So I'm trying to figure out every way. I'm like, does it make sense to you? He's like, no, it doesn't make any sense to me. And I'm like, so can you just cancel it? And he's like, no. So I said, can you stop sending me forms, letters? And he's like, no. And I was like, if I change the address to an invalid address, would that work? He's like, yeah, but you should really fill out a cancellation form. I'm like, what happens if I don't fill out a cancellation form? And he's like, man, we'll keep on sending you damn forms.
Oh
hey guys.
Hey Chuck.
So I was like, all right, well, thanks for your help.
The government is not known for flexibility, creative thinking, logic, any of the above.
Yeah.
At any level, I could talk about my HOA, but I won't.
HOA is another level of government.
I'm on the HOA board for our development, so.
I'm sorry, maybe yours doesn't suck then.
Yeah. Oh, guys, so check out, I think it's complete now, pretty much. Go to bulldogmindset.com. Just have to like modify the videos that are showing on the front to actually be, but and make an about page. But for the most part, like all the design and everything is pretty much there.
All right, let's take a look.
Nice. I'm gonna hurt your quiz opt-in rate, John. Nice.
The quiz opt-in rate is still insane.
How's the load time looking on this?
It was really slow for me, just FYI.
Was it?
Yeah, like 10, 15 seconds.
So I got this guy that I actually hired just for a website speed up process. He has this site called WP Speed Guru. He's all about speeding up sites. That's why I'm certainly aware of this process now.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Looks really good.
Cool.
Nice. What the fuck? Why is there like James Cordona? Okay, I guess.
I think those are called placeholders.
I figured John was with Mark Wahlberg or something.
He was.
He didn't tell us about it.
Very nice. So this was a 99 Designs effort?
The logo was, I hired the designer that designed the logo to design the website design as well. And then I hired someone on Upwork to implement the...
Oh, you didn't need to do, you could have just had the designer do the implementation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you should definitely look at render times, man. Do a GTmetrix /pingdom/whatever test.
Yeah.
To optimize the fuck out of this, because then that's the next thing.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't have anything installed right now for. In fact, I've got it on a really small machine too.
Manny can help you take down your whole site with speed optimizations. So
exactly what that happened. I was like, I ain't touching this shit anymore, so I'm gonna go find an expert. Just like what John's been talking about, like find the expert to do that shit. So I went online and tried to find a guy, and GTmetrix actually recommended, like when you sign up for GTmetrix, when you try to like get some support from GTmetrix for this stuff, and they're like, oh, how much budget do you have? I'm like, under 500, between 500 and 2,000 plus. I'm like, under 500. So then they're like, oh, we don't do it, but we have this guy who does it. I'm like, all right. So the guy got on call with me for a couple of hours, did a whole bunch of stuff, and he's doing more. So
Yeah.
Cool.
Interesting.
yeah.
It's funny because I'm actually moving my site, at least devchat.tv, the part with the podcast and stuff on it. I think I've decided, I've been kind of toying with this for a while, but moving it off of WordPress.
What?
Yeah. I'm tired of maintaining it.
You moved it onto WordPress, right?
Yeah, a couple of years, or a year, what, 2 years ago?
2 years
Derek
ago, yeah.
talked me into doing it. Yeah, it might have been 2.5 years ago, but it's just turned into this big, hairy mess to maintain. And I've been talking to a few other folks, and a lot of them use a static site generator, and then they just host it on like Netlify or something. So you're just deploying static HTML pages. And so I've been playing with it for a while, and I'm pretty close to having it done. And then I'll just run my shopping cart and stuff on WordPress, but then it'll just be doing like one thing.
Man, there's so much that WordPress offers, like, and so many things that keep coming up. How are you gonna keep up with that?
Like what?
Like, okay, you have to pixel your site. I guess that's easy. I mean, you're
Yeah.
gonna keep putting the scripts in there.
Yeah.
You have a pretty complicated, because of your publishing scheme there, you've got kind of a pretty complicated
my
setup.
issue is that I have to maintain a plugin for all of the different shows to keep all of the post types straight.
Mhm.
And then I've got to maintain I had to fork the theme, and so I've been having to maintain that, and it's not worth it.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it makes sense in your case. Like you're.
yeah. Well, the other
You're
thing is
custom
I'm not
software.
updating it all the time.
Yeah.
But I feel like I'm maintaining custom software anyway. And so if I'm going to maintain it, I may as well do it in a way that's easier to deal with.
Well, let me ask this question, though, before you even think about doing this at all, is what are you going to gain by this in the immediate? Like, what are you trying to accomplish right now that this is going to solve?
It will shortcut a lot of, so like Michelle, who does a lot of the production stuff for me,
Yeah.
she struggles with keeping it all straight. And so if I have a system like this, then she can just go in and make a change to it. I'll have to teach her how to use Git, but that's just pull, edit, push. There's not a lot to it. And she can actually use the GitHub UI if she really wants to. So that stays pretty easy. The other thing is that my listeners, a lot of my listeners come to me and basically say, I wish there was a way that I could update the transcript or update the show notes or something like that. And so they can submit pull requests and fix stuff for me. I've had quite a few people come to me and say that they would like to be able to do that for me.
Yeah.
And so anyway, there are a lot of reasons to do it. I mean, yeah, WordPress in a lot of ways is automatic, but I feel like more and more I'm spending a lot of time just banging on it to get it where I want it to be. And ultimately it's just serving up HTML anyway. And so if I just have static HTML, then a lot of the hassle there goes away. I am a little bit worried about like some of the marketing tools that are built, that I have plugins for. I need to figure some of that out, but it looks like it's not unreasonable to think that you might be able to just get around some of that in one way or another. Just install a JavaScript only system or something for that.
You're not making a very compelling case, I will admit that, because, well, I mean, the thing is, like, you're probably going to go through a lot of trouble doing this, and this is going to be a big project and take up a lot of time. And all you're really going to get out of it, like, really get out of it, is not having to train someone on how to do it in WordPress. Whereas if you just spend 5 hours training her on how to do it in WordPress, even if it's clunky, because you're not updating. I've just, like, the reason why I'm not trying to rag on you. I was looking for a bigger, like, oh, I'm trying to implement this feature and I can't do it in WordPress, or I'm doing this major overhaul of the website. But I think you're going to get yourself into a lot of mud for no reason. That might distract you from other stuff. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, that's entirely possible.
Like, I don't disagree with the fact that you probably would be better off of WordPress based on your needs, but I do disagree with wasting any time on doing this in the near future when you got other stuff you could that's actually going to return you a higher return.
That's fair. I do have a lot of other irons in the fire. And my main focus these days has actually been doing the sponsorship sales.
Yeah.
And I've sold out all but like 4 of my shows for January at this point.
Oh, wow.
And I have a bunch more spots open in February, but I've actually been going back to sponsors who said, I just want to try it out for January, and essentially said, I've got 2 other companies looking at the spots you said you were, you'd renew on in February. So you need to renew now, and gotten a couple of them to do it. So, and then I had to go back to the other sponsors, the other potential sponsors, and say, those spots got taken. But I've been mostly focused on that and just getting the processes together for how we currently do things. The static site stuff is mostly just when I'm just like, okay, I need a Pomodoro where I can just fiddle with something that doesn't matter, where I just need a little bit of downtime before I go right back in. So I don't spend a ton of time on it. But
well, maybe marketing is where you should, because that's where the stuff actually always returns money, not stuff like this. If you're just looking for idle things to do, marketing will always make you money.
That's true.
Compared to website changes.
Or I may have something for you for, let's say that if you had a salesperson, right, that could do your or fill your ad space, what percentage would you be willing to pay them of what they could get for the ad placement?
I'm sorry, say that again.
So if you had a salesperson, right, who could fill your ad space, what percentage would you be willing to pay them for what they could get for your ad space?
Probably 15 to 20%. Why?
Because I've got a pretty good solution for you, I think, now that, because I went up to, I was at Vancouver this weekend shooting vids with Dan Locke. And Dan Locke has a program called HTC, which is like high ticket closers. His whole program is basically to train people to be closers, like to get on phone calls and close high ticket sales, right?
Okay.
So he's got a whole army of closers, of good ones, that the whole thing that they do is just they have closing skills. So you send them leads, you give them the leads, and then they close, and most of their like closing rates around like 20-25%, which is pretty solid. So
my closing rate is closer to 50%. And the other thing is that once I get a few more of these spots sold out in February, I'm not going to need to spend as much time on it,
because you'll have it like already going.
Because it'll mostly be follow-up at that point. And the ones that don't renew, I know how to hustle and find those folks. Because essentially my process is I go and I look around the internet for about a half hour, and I find companies that are basically either sponsoring conferences that treat the topics that I'm talking about on the shows, or they're sponsoring other podcasts that align with mine, or things like that. And then I go find their people on LinkedIn. I use hunter.io to get their email address, and I shoot them an email. And then I probably get, I'd have to look at the actual numbers, but I probably get 10-15% of those on the first email me back, or hand it off to some subordinate who will get back to me, because they're the ones that handle that kind of marketing. And then if that doesn't work, then I go start following them on social media and commenting on their social media, and I probably get another 50% off of that. And then once I get a call set up, my closing rate's like 50 or 60%. It's working for me. And I don't anticipate that. The reason that I had all this pent up was because I hadn't been doing it. But now that I'm doing it, I just need to make sure that I continue to bring new people into the funnel and start working these folks to get them into the pipeline and out the other end. But it's definitely working for me at this point. And so I anticipate in January I'm not going to have to spend nearly as much time selling people.
The first part of that pipeline, or the first part of that you could automate would be, or delegate
Yes,
would be all
I
that.
could delegate that.
That first part,
Exactly,
the lead
yeah.
generation would be, that would be super easy because you could write you could just write that up as a process.
Yeah.
Yep.
Did I show you guys my master process for the podcasts?
You showed me the outline.
I think I did that last time.
Yeah.
So I'm working on a master process for the sponsorship sales. And yeah,
Nice.
the idea is essentially, so I can outsource some or all of that to somebody else when I'm ready.
Yep.
But yeah, the first part where they go out and prospect, and then they just sign into my HubSpot account and send the emails.
Yeah.
Or sign them up for the sequence, and they're done. But
So well, I mean, I would have to agree with Chuck quite a bit here. Seems like that is the highest leverage thing you do in your business.
Yes.
So that may not be the thing you need to outsource. Maybe podcasting, where you get other people to host and do all that stuff. There you can spend more time.
I'm
or
working on
less
that.
time. Get people to do more of that stuff. But like closing seems like that's where all the return is. Like that's where you are really making money. Everything else is just spending money. More.
Yeah.
To be fair.
I feel the same way for the most part, that my focus needs to be on the sponsorship sales because that's the highest leverage.
Yes.
After that,
and marketing.
And then the email marketing is probably the next highest leverage. And that's something that I'm going to actually, I think today, I'm just going to buckle down and I'm going to spend a ton of time and just get that automated out for the next few months.
Yeah.
As much as possible. And I'll probably do that. I'm taking Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday off next week, but Thursday and Friday I'll be heads down working on the emails, because my selling process I don't think is going to be very effective for the next week.
I can't imagine why not.
Yeah, like I'm not even going to try. I'll start reaching out to people again around the first of the year. But if I can get the email stuff nailed down, then I have two processes working for me, right? Because I have the sponsorship angle working for me for the big ticket sales, and then I have the getting people on and buying affiliate product stuff working for me on the other end. And I can kind of maximize that. So
these are revenue generation activities.
Yep. And then the rest of it, if I need to kill a little time, then I'll focus a little bit more on whatever, the website or whatever I feel like I need to.
Yeah.
So
that makes sense.
Who else is feeling just as productive as you felt 2 weeks ago?
I've been pretty close. Not quite as productive, just because I haven't pushed some of the stuff that I have to do aside to get it done, like taking kids to school and things. But with the time that I have had available, I've been just as productive.
Yeah, mine. I just got my week got messed up because of the travel, but.
All right. Josh doesn't really care. That's cool.
No, my week was basically almost like lots and lots of calls, and meetings.
I've been doing that too.
So
hiring people sucks.
Yeah, I have been. I actually last week and this week both. I did my 6 Pomodoros before noon last week, and then this week I did 2 days, and then I had meetings and stuff, so I couldn't do it all the days. But 6 before noon. It's good. It focuses. I like it. It forces me to pick some things that I can just grind out.
The important stuff.
Yeah.
So I was talking to John about this girl I met at the Pat Flynn event last week. She has one course, $1,000 course, teaches small business how to do online marketing. She has a digital marketing agency as well. She started in January this year. She's done a revenue of over $1 million. Has a list, grown the list from 0 to 200,000, all from Facebook ads. And over 50 to 60% profitability.
So that's Manny's new strategy, is to forget the business, just get in with this girl It's called the sugar mama move.
Oh, so you knew it all along. No,
That's
but
pretty crazy.
John
though.
invented it.
John invented that strategy. Oh man. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Like what you can do with paid traffic. Like the scalability of paid traffic is not even comparable. Like it's like leaps and bounds, like orders of magnitudes above anything you can do with organic. Organic is longer term stay, where paid is like you can scale 10, 100 times more than you can ever do with organic shit. But you need a higher ticket enough to do that. Otherwise you get stuck. You know, with low ticket you can't do that. The conversions are not there.
What's her course called?
It's Spanish. Yeah, I can.
Oh,
give you
okay.
the name.
Is she marketing in the U.S. or in
No, Spain.
in Spain? Oh, okay.
Europe.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, as long as you can get, as long as you can be profitable, then you can basically, grow your list for free.
Yeah.
So there's, I mean, that's pretty nice.
Yeah. That is pretty badass. How's that going for you guys? Are you guys pretty close to getting it out there?
So we're on essentially like step 2 here, which is testing lead magnets. So they tested I think 4 or 5 different audiences to see which one was responding the best and giving us the best CPA. And so they narrowed in on one specific audience. And so now what we're going to be doing this weekend, actually, they might have started already, is running a bunch of different lead magnet ads to that list, to that audience. To see.
What's your cost per lead?
The cost per lead on that audience was under $3. I'm not sure. It was $2 to $3, and that was with a lead ad. So they don't have to leave Facebook to fill it out. Yeah. And it was cold. So I've been able to do $2 to $3 before on cold, but they weren't converting. The problem I was getting was they weren't opening any emails afterwards. So they'd opt in, and then it would just be completely dead. They only generated, it was a quick test, so they only generated 13 leads, but we sent a broadcast to that little tiny segment, and it got, checking now, it was, last I checked, it was almost a 40% open rate. Yeah, we got a 38, so 5 opens out of 13. So that's not bad. And they weren't, 2 of the opt-ins were actually from already on our list. And then one of them was clearly fake. So out of the 10 that actually opted in for real from the campaign, we got 5 of them to open. So that's promising. And then, yeah, so we're testing, basically we took a cheat sheet type of lead magnet, and we wrote 4 or 5 headlines for that that are completely different angles. And we're going to test 8. They're testing 8 different ads. I think they're also going to test some different images and stuff to try to get a good sense for which lead magnet is most effective. And then we're going to, from there, they're going to start building out basically a content funnel where video views you can get video views for really cheap. Like I've done it for like 10 cents each or something ridiculous. So they do like a funnel where you've got video 1 through video 10, and you only see the next video if you've consumed the first video. So it's kind of like an autoresponder. They move you through, and they're saying by the time that you get to the end of that, they'll see like a 5% close rate on not close rate, but like conversion rate on the sales page, because the audience it's super filtered at that point.
And these videos are just being sent on Facebook?
Yeah.
On Facebook? Yeah,
their content. Yeah. So this kind of, we may be able to get the email.
What's the conversion on the lead magnet percentage?
For our other lead, for this lead?
No, it's for this magnet. Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
Like, what's the cost per click you're getting right now?
For the current, I don't know what I haven't. We're going to talk.
Well,
they're going to be running
money
it
you
today.
spent on it?
Like $150 or something.
$150.
Yeah.
Or 13 leads. No.
Right.
That's not
Yeah,
good.
because some of they tested 5 different audiences, and the cost per acquisition on most of them was around $10.
Ooh, wow.
And then, which is, I mean, that's about what I see on AdWords for software developer leads. And then, but they found an audience where it seemed like people were engaging well, and it was significantly lower. So that's the one we're going to run with for now. And then, but yeah, so the video, the idea of using the video, the funnel that's video based, that's entirely on Facebook, could be a way of getting around the email problem if we run into that again, where people are just not giving you good email. Either, like, I'm not sure if what I was getting was fake, just completely fake, bogus, like bot traffic, or if it was just people who were giving me bad email addresses that they didn't really use. But if it's all on, if they're able to do it all on Facebook, then that can get around that problem. So potentially.
So you're not doing any webinar or anything?
We probably will do. We probably will have a webinar in there, but initially we're testing, because they're doing so much testing. Like with the webinar, you have to. The webinar is like a pretty major undertaking in and of itself. You've got to script it out. You've got to test different versions of it. So we're starting at the front of the funnel. I'm sure we'll get there eventually.
Well, and it needs to be profitable without the webinar. Like, I don't have any problem adding a webinar in if it increases the profitability, but the whole point of this thing is that it should be
well, you can do it. You can do a webinar. You can do an evergreen webinar.
Yeah, exactly.
If it's fully automated, but
yeah, you can do it.
Of it. Initially, you test those damn things out. Maybe you go through 4, 5, 6 iterations to find the one that works. And then you just, you record each one of them. So the one that works best, you basically put that in an evergreen funnel forever.
Right. Yeah, I've seen people use tools like EverWebinar or something.
Yeah.
You even if you do like Q&A at the end, if the questions are the same and then you just make it clear, look, if you entered a question, we'll answer you an email if we don't get to it in the Q&A, because you won't, because it's pre-recorded.
Right.
And then get back to all those people. Then you have to do a little bit of work on the back end, but you can automate the rest of it.
And there's like the Spanish girl I was telling you, it's all automated. She did her initial webinars, found the winner, and then now it's all automated. She's not trying to do webinar freaking every day. Every day it's just clockwork. It's running ads, people coming to the webinar, and 7% of people who watch the webinar buy it. Yeah. That's her conversion, like 7%, literally.
Nice.
So yeah, webinar is automated. I know John has some major major hangups about, or major psychological issues with webinars, but he treats
we
it
don't
like,
talk about John's psychological problems on the show.
I'm just kidding. But it's webinar is real if you have a product that's justified. If there's a price point that justifies the damn webinar.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, you're going to record videos on Facebook. What about those?
Yeah, it's different though. It is different because webinar is also a fad too. It's like,
dude, that fad's been going on for 10 years now.
Yeah.
You might fight it, but it's been going on.
I don't know. The funnel should be profitable without a webinar.
Well, that's ideal, right? I mean, as little work as you can do and make it work, make it profitable. Yes, but if you have to do the webinar, sometimes you just have to do the dang work.
Well, if you do it 5 times and then you automate it, what's the big deal about it?
Because no, it has to be profitable without the webinar. That's
I'm not in agreement on this school of thoughts. I don't.
It has to be. That's the requirements for the deal.
Remember,
because we can't do 5 webinars that are non-automated and then test this out. We need to know, like, the whole point of this company of us hiring them is that they need to produce a profitable automated funnel at the end of the 1 month period. So
John's deep-seated webinar psychological issue started when he was 7 years old.
yes.
He saw the first webinar in his life.
Well, the point is like you can't make variable. It has to be very clearly defined targets, right? A webinar might be able to enhance profitability. That's fine, but the sales funnel needs to be profitable without a webinar. It has to be automated.
That is yes and no there, because you know at certain price point, trust comes into the picture pretty hardcore. Like when you're talking $50-$100, yeah, you don't really need any kind of trust building with the audience. But as you start to go to a higher price point, like $500 to $1,000 to $2,000, now that video element being able to be there, like showing, building trust with the audience, I don't think email is enough to do that.
I don't care how it's done. I'm just saying that that's the requirements for this. This is what we've agreed to. So
well, and to John's point, he's paying somebody to create a profitable funnel.
Right.
So yeah, to the degree that this reminds me a little bit of like tests in isolation for code, in the sense that, if you're going to be doing webinars and throwing other pieces into the funnel, you're going to skew the results, and you want to see how profitable the funnel is on their own. Now, if they had come to you and said, you need to do a webinar in order to make this profitable, or something like that, then I could see the point saying, look, John, they said you needed a webinar to make this work, so you need to do the webinar. But I also see John's point where it's like, look, I paid them to create this funnel. This funnel's supposed to be profitable on its own. So I'm not going to put anything else in there that may skew the results because people like me and not because the funnel is working.
That is totally fair. Everything you guys are saying is fair, except that there are, like, as the price point goes higher, conversions on email aren't that effective compared to
that's probably true
webinar. So we're just like in some ways we're just forcing something on the system that the system wasn't really designed to do. So
yeah, but
is that a legit test?
Are you talking $1,000 products or $100 products? Or
$100 don't need a webinar, but $500, yeah. I mean, the price, like 300, even 300 would probably, would be better sold over a webinar if you haven't really built trust with their audience. If it's your own audience, they know you, they've been following you, they've built trust with you for months, and that is a different thing. Now, like, okay, well, now they will buy like even $300,000, $500,000 product because they know you enough. But webinar is definitely one of the places where people are able to build trust way more than email can.
So what product are you driving them to with this funnel then, John?
Well, it'll be the coding interview boot camp. So we don't know what the price point is yet.
Okay. Yeah, it'll probably be somewhere between $500 and $1,000, though, I imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm all for like hell. I'm all for getting people on the phone and phone closing them, but the baseline needs to be a profitable automated funnel. If we add other things to enhance it, that's fine. We could add the webinar and then it should up the results, right? But even that, right? Like you still need a good baseline, right? In order to know, how do you know that the webinar is effective or not, or that it's more effective? You won't know if you have a baseline. You're like, okay, well, without the webinar, this is what percentage of our leads convert, and this is our cost per lead, our cost per customer acquisition, right? Versus with the webinar, it goes up, right? And this is what it costs us to put on the webinar. Versus if we call people on the phone and close them, this is what it costs, and this is what it costs us in commissions or whatever to close them. We can test those things, and to some degree you can automate those things, right? I'm kind of being a little bit of an ass, but I don't want that kind of stuff. Like I want a fully automated funnel that works first, and then we can, you can record a webinar and automate it. I know you can basically automate phone closing by having closers that you hire out to send. Yeah, or they don't even need to use a script. You just send them the leads, right? And then they just they close leads. So it's out of your hands. You don't have to do anything besides have the funnel set that sends them the leads. But you got to have something profitable first.
No, let's make it work. So I'm thinking, like, I've been going back and forth between the coaching, like having a coaching offer versus doing the $99 a month, just a group mastermind thing. And I'm still not sure about the coaching offer. Like, I feel like it's pretty generic, which always is a recipe for danger. I know John is able to sell that, probably because you have a pretty big audience at this point that you can go very specific, very like 1 out of 1,000 or 1 out of 10,000 who actually would buy that, and that's good enough at that point. But I feel like coaching would be a good next step to automate some of the revenue in the business. So I'm trying to figure out like a funnel, or not funnel, but like how to deploy it in the next few weeks, or next 4 to 6 weeks to make it work. And it's
coming up with a non-generic, appealing, low-ticket offer, I think, is harder than coming up with a higher ticket offer that's appealing. Because you can customize, like with the if you're going for more of a mass audience, you don't have as much room for customization. Like when John pitches his coaching, he lists out like 10 things that he's helped past coaching clients with, and says, I can help you with this stuff. Right. Versus like if you're doing a group mastermind, you need to have a lot more focus, I think.
Yeah, I agree. The group mastermind. So one of the guys I've seen who does it is he's got like this $100 a month group. Well, there's a bunch of different options there, like group mastermind of different variabilities, right? You can do $100 a month all the way to like people doing $25,000 group masterminds, right? But there are different kinds and different varieties. The $25,000 a month is going to be, or $25,000 is going to be highly specific and probably make money kind of space. While the $100 a month is more, or $200 a month is more like generic, build your business or something like that in general. But the coaching offer, I'm like thinking, okay, should I actually make it a business coaching offer, or should I just leave it as generic coaching offer, or should I, like, what's a better approach here?
I mean, the more specific you can make it, I would try to find something that is specific to a big chunk of your audience, and then leave the door open for other things.
Yeah, I'm big on the outcome again, and that's what I think Josh is saying is, what are you gonna get them to, right? Are they going to double their business? Are they going to get a better job that pays them $20,000 more a year? Are you, you know? And so if you can give them that aim and just be like, look, you know, even if we're half wrong, you're still going to get a 10K raise, right? Or even if we're half wrong, you're still going to get 50% increase in what you make at your business. You know, and you can just, you just get out there and it's like, look, I've done this for myself. I've done this for a few other people. And so I'm going to do it for you. You may want to pilot it with a few people that you know you can help. And that way you can get more specific on, this is the demographic it shines for. These are the tactics that work, and then go for it from there.
Yeah, I've piloted on a few already. Like I have a few who I have results for, but at the same time, they're very specific in that domain, and it's hard to find that specific. Well, maybe it's not. Maybe it is. That's the thing.
What are some of the results that you have in mind?
All right. One guy, he had an audience, and I helped him launch a product and got him to make $98,000 in like 6 months. So
there you go.
Yeah. So he had an audience. So that was the good part. He just didn't know what the fuck to do with the audience.
Right.
What to do with the audience. Right.
So so you can target it on that. The other thing is you're probably going to want to screen people so that you're only bringing in people you can help, and that way you don't have any major failure cases on it either.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I like to screen. Like I always screen, so I don't like to just put that because I'm gonna get some crappy people. So I know, John, you don't even get them on a phone, do you? To close, like to even screen them, or you just get them through email?
Yeah, yep, just through email. The first session is basically the screen. Well, I mean, the screen is already through email, right? Because I've already asked them quite a few questions, and and usually the people that I'm getting are serious because they're, because I'm charging them $3,000 for 2 phone calls. So
I like your email in the sense that you specified the price, because last time I actually opened this up, I got a lot of applications, even people who were making decent money. But then as soon as they heard the price, they're like, oh, this is too much. So now I'm like, okay, I should just tell the price up front. So that way I only get highly qualified candidates rather than like, it's like $1,000 a month.
Well, it depends. Like I mean,
what's Dan Lux saying on that?
Yeah, his would be that you don't say the price, that you basically get to the point where you overcome all the objections first, and then you get to the price. Because because basically, and this makes a lot of sense, like if they're sold on it, if they it doesn't matter what the price is, right? If they feel like it's going to provide them a benefit that they want, right? There's really not, I mean, think about like, I don't know, like what, like you pay like $1,000 for an iPhone, right? Like a phone was $50 or $60, right? Like it's not like, I mean, like you're just paying that because that's what you're literally paying 10 to 20 times the price of what you could pay for a phone. There's not really a justification, the fact that it's an iPhone, like whatever features you put on there, or say like even over like $100 Android phone, that's still a 10x, right? There's not much of a feature difference, honestly, between the two phones. You can't justify the 10x. It's an emotional decision. You're making that decision, right? So basically, people will pay whatever the price is. It doesn't matter once you've convinced them that this is what they want. Are you
going to remove the pricing from your email?
I don't know. Like in my case, I don't mind just not dealing with people. Like if I was trying to, I'm not trying. Okay, I don't even
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
I don't even really advertise the coaching. I just threw it in that email. But in general, I don't advertise the coaching because I don't really want coaching clients.
Yeah, you don't.
Like in general. So if I were trying to go after maximizing the number of coaching clients I got, I would be getting people on the phone, and I would be closing them on the phone and talking about how, basically asking them what do they want to do, what.
So if you're trying to maximize, would you have a different application process than what you have right now?
For sure.
What would it be?
It would probably be like, I would honestly, if I try to maximize my coaching right now, what I would be doing is it's going to sound really funny, but I would probably getting people into a free webinar, like a master class.
Oh no, shut it down. Shut it down. Walk away.
Hey, John, the funnel should work without the webinar.
but that is like, and it does, right? And it does. But if I was trying to maximize the results for doing that, because then I could get them into a training where I could be giving them a taste of what the coaching is
free
like.
Webinar to one-on-one call.
Right.
Yeah.
But with some kind of application.
There should be an application in between somewhere, right?
Yeah. Well, okay. So part of this depends too on like when you're just getting started.
He uses the coaching for price anchoring, because I just did that this week. But
what's that?
He uses his coaching for price anchoring.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's funny. And I just did that this week, came upon it in a different way. But anyway.
So early on, like it depends. Part of this is the consideration is like how early what am I trying to say? How early you are in the process, right? So John's got basically a full pipeline, right? You have a completely empty pipeline.
Well, not completely empty. I have a few, yeah.
90% empty pipeline.
Yeah.
So the more barriers you set up, the harder it is to fill that pipeline. So you get control over, like there's multiple valves on the pipeline and you get to determine how open or closed they are, right? So if you've got an application process, that's going to screen out a bunch of people. That can be a good thing. But if you have no clients at all, it might be better to just get people on the phone initially.
Yeah, no, I want the application.
Right.
I don't want people just like that. That's too much.
No, Josh is absolutely right. If you're serious about maximizing, getting this going, you want to talk to as many people as you can on the phone.
I'm not that interested in like maximizing the revenue where I'm like just talking to random people. No,
That's what I did on my book.
What is your pipeline? What is your inventory
right now?
How many clients do you want to have?
I would probably want to take maybe another 5 because I have like 3, but I'll take another 5.
Okay.
At how much per month?
1,000.
Then at that point, I mean, to pick up the 5, I would pick up the phone. Like that makes sense until you fill it up. And once you fill it up, then put in a screening process and application process. But that's going to be the most effective way.
I'm not sure, man. Last time I had people applying, I had so many people who had no freaking way they were even close to being able to afford.
Okay.
It was just a waste of, like, I had to decline the application right away. I saw that.
Well, here's the problem though, right? Is again, like, if I'm doing this as well, what I'm doing is you have to put the filter on your end, not on their end, right? So you get you want to have a large number of people applying, but then you want a way to filter. So a real simple thing that you do is you just put what is your annual salary, right? Or what is your discretionary spending money, or how much money do you invest in yourself per year, right? How much money are you willing to invest in yourself per month, right? And then when you get them on the phone, right? I mean, you can always be like, very quickly into the conversation, do you mind if we talk about money for a little bit here? And say, the investment required for this opportunity is $1,000 a month. How do you feel about that? Right? I know that's a lot of money for a lot of people. How do you feel about that? And then just let them talk themselves right into it, right? Like, otherwise they can't afford it, right? They're either going to be able to talk themselves into it, or they can't afford it, right? If you've done everything right. But that allows you to filter on your end. So you basically, if you did it that way, what I would do is you have a couple of those questions.
Okay, so why shouldn't I just ask them some of these questions, like how much are you making and all that stuff, and depending on that I just screen them out, so that way I don't waste my time scheduling calls with people unnecessarily.
You don't screen them out, you prioritize the calls that you make. You see what I'm saying?
There are people who are freaking making like 20-30K a year. There's no way they can afford something like this.
Well, yeah, but they just I with what John's saying, you're basically saying the same thing. I mean, like, if you get 100 applications, you sort by, well, maybe what you do is I would sort by, probably I would go, I would look at the responses they gave you to the questions and the detail that they gave you, and then within, like, sort by that, then sort by income or something, so that you can see, like, okay, these people are really interested and they have the money. These people are really interested. They don't really have enough money, right? And you just work your way down, and you stop wherever you stop.
All right.
So effectively, you would be filtering some people out just because you probably wouldn't get to them. But
yeah, okay.
But yeah, that makes sense. What John's saying is, like, limit the friction on their end initially. Then when you're full, and you can start talking in your emails about how you deliver these results, and I'm full, and then, I've got a space opened up.
Yeah,
I'm taking on 1 space this month.
Yep.
And then you have a cattle crush, and like, it wasn't hard for John to sell $10,000 worth of one-off coaching stuff with a couple email or 2 emails.
It's true. I mean, that was a different cause, but yeah.
Yeah.
It's still, people have to see the value in it for them to give money to it.
Yeah, and you never know. I mean, sometimes, I mean, obviously you want to sort. That's what I said, sort. But when you don't have your pipeline full, filtering is not the best idea. And you can even get on the phone with people that are at the lower end of it. Like if you had to, if you're scraping the bottom of the barrel, and be like, hey, look, you know, I'm just going to tell you right up front, I don't think this is something that you can afford. And, you know, even so, you know, and then let them say, oh, no, or yeah, you know, well, how much does it cost? Right. And then, you know,
free, like a lot of people make the mistake, and like the classic freelancers mistake. Well, I mean, one of the classic freelancers mistakes is like set your prices high, double your price advice too seriously when you're just getting started out, and you're disqualifying. You're basically just saying no to all this business, and meanwhile you have no clients and no experience, and you're just waiting for some magical, the stars to align, and you know, you get that guy who's going to pay you $100,000. Well, you know, better to start off with a couple of $1,000 jobs, get busy, get some results, you know, get the wheels moving, and then that gives you momentum. Without momentum, it's a lot harder to do a lot of this.
Yep. Yeah.
But I think you should do like multiple students at one time.
The mastermind?
Yeah, it makes sense to me.
But then you have to have a very specific end goal, because otherwise it becomes a complete mastermind for all.
And your cold coaching and everything should be based around books, I think. I don't think you should focus on business coaching, because it doesn't make sense. You don't have the credentials to really prop yourself up with business coaches, because you don't have a big story to say that, you know, like if you're running like a multi-million-dollar business coaching becomes something more, you know, that you can set yourself apart and be like, okay, this is why you should follow me, is because I'm making, you know, I have the business that you want to build. But in your case, the biggest thing that you have is this knowledge from all these books, and this group of people that want to learn from books and learn from, and so that's like your.
There's no way I'm selling $1,000. Hey, let's go and learn from books, mastermind, or anything like that.
Well, it's a self-improvement.
Yeah, it's not happening.
I don't know.
Well, so I was part of a mastermind group a year or so ago, and I basically just switched coaching because I wanted to be coached by a specific coach.
Okay, your coach, the coach.
But what he did is we had our mastermind group, and then we read a book for the month, and we would discuss it for part of the mastermind call every month. And then we would also just, you know, have people in the hot seat. And so you could do a mix of both, and that way you're leveraging your reputation for being able to synthesize information out of books, and you're also leveraging the expertise of running your own business. And so you can give them kind of what they expect from you there.
What was the mastermind? What was the title of the mastermind you joined?
It was called Iron Sharpens Iron.
Oh, that one. Yeah. And that was the focus of it. Was like, why did you join it?
Well, for one, I talked to the guy that ran it, Aaron Walker. I talked to him for like an hour. And I really just felt like he offered some of the life coaching that I wanted, because I wanted a mix of life coaching and business coaching. And he started out running pawn shops, and you know, now he owns, you know, several $million-dollar businesses. And yeah, so it all kind of worked out that way, but it also had a Christian focus to it. And so you know, it ticked a bunch of boxes for me.
So he's a pawn star.
What?
He's a pawn star.
Yeah, I guess so. In Nashville.
Nice.
But yeah, you know, it was very effective for us. And I think that's something you could leverage. You know, it's like, look, I am able to quickly synthesize the main points out of books. So we're going to have 20 minutes of coaching, and then 20 minutes each for 2 people every week in our mastermind group, where we all just help them out and do the mastermind thing. And I think you could really sell that as kind of, hey, look, I'm sharing what I'm good at.
So that would be more like
sharing everything else that I'm good at with the coaching.
So that would be like a self-help kind of group. Nobody.
Yeah, but you could do it focused around business or anything else. I mean, whatever is your sweet spot.
No, that's what
whatever
John
you're
is saying. John is saying, hey, just do books around self-help. Is that what John's saying?
Sort of. I'm saying don't make it totally focused on business, right?
What's the end result? Like, what's the end result? Iron sharpens iron. I could see why it appeals to Chuck, because there's a very Christian bent on it. And
yeah, but that wasn't the only reason I joined. That's what I'm saying. Is if you give them a couple reasons to join, and then you show people that you're qualified to hit those points.
Yeah.
Anyway, the end result, it's not an end result. It's for coaching, for mastermind. It's you're helping me with this problem that I have. You're going to show me how to overcome it, right? So
it's easy to, like, given how mass appeal my stuff is, it's very, like, it's almost like, what problem are we talking about? There are so many problems you could be talking about when the books are all over the map, right? All over self-help and business and marketing and strategy and sales and all that stuff. So then, what are you doing?
But when, if you get into the weeds, there are some books that get into the weeds and talk about specific strategies that apply. But in other cases, it's like, look, you pull these 2 principles out of these 3 books, because all 3 books cover that same principle. They all hit it in a little bit different way. And if you apply it to your problem, then this solution appears. And if we apply this other principle, then this other solution appears. And it looks like if you can marry them together, then you might be able to get a solution that'll work well for you.
Yeah, I mean, okay, well said, except that not easy to sell something like this on, on like, hey, join me for a self-help mastermind group, and I'll help you become a better person.
Yeah, self-help is too wishy-washy. So you want to do it focused on business or productivity, or something that you already have.
Productivity is a small niche, very small niche of the whole thing, right? It's like, if you just
but if you get somebody that's hyper-focused on it or sees that as the area they vastly need to improve on, they'll probably actually pay you more for it.
Yeah. I mean, I think you only need to hit on 1 or 2 things that people are interested in, and it's like bullets on a sales page, right? It's like, if you are offering a mastermind coaching program where you are going to solve big problems that people have, right? And you're talking about, we're going to be looking at the best books that of personal development that are going to help you to overcome laziness and become more productive. We're going to look at mental toughness and discipline. We're going to look at building a business and increasing your wealth and having that mindset. And we're going to look at whatever the specific things.
It's all over the map now, right?
Of course, but that's what personal development is.
I'll throw one more thing at you, Manny. So there's another coaching group that I'm a member of. We meet every Thursday morning, and I'm paying, let's just say I'm paying more than $500 a month to be in it.
Okay.
And full transparency, it's $900 a month. Ooh, so, when I joined up, it was basically business coaching, and I knew some of the things that Scott taught as part of the program.
It's a group coaching call?
It is. It's a group coaching call every week. But when I got in, the first thing he did is he put me on a Trello board and said, this is the process. This is what you're going to build. And so he helps people work through the process of building their business. He has a very specific method for doing it. And, and that's where, like, the podcast master process thing came from. That's where the mission statement and the value statements and all the other things that I've been doing, a lot of this has come out of it. And so if you come to people with a full-on process and then just say, look, we're going to coach you through this, we're going to answer any questions, that's another aspect of this that you could also put out there.
Yeah.
And so instead of self-help, which is really broad, you can come in and say, I'm going to help you be more confident or be more productive, or whatever. Or if you want to go into the business arena, right, it's going to be like, look, we're going to help you reach your business goals and be able to take more time off and make more money, or whatever. But then you come up with a process and you hand it off to them.
So then how much are you guys, John, what was, like, from what Josh, before I go, Chuck, what is Scott's credentials?
I met Scott through Iron Sharpens Iron. I had chatted with him a whole bunch of times, and he had given me a lot of good advice. I mean, that's why I signed up with him. I don't think he has like a degree or.
Has he built multi-million-dollar businesses?
He runs a very profitable one on his own,
which is a coaching business.
And he had worked at some larger companies in Texas, but yeah, I think that was it.
Hold on. So he went from working to being a business coach, but there's no business credential there. As in, like, he hasn't built a multi-million-dollar business. Not
that I'm aware of, unless his coaching business is a multi-million-dollar business.
Which is different. I mean, that's a tautology. Like, I don't know how to say it, but it's almost like a.
Yeah, but the thing is everything he's told me to do has worked.
Yeah. No, that's fine.
So I don't care.
I'm trying to understand why you signed up for it, because
I signed up for it because I chatted with him. On multiple occasions I talked to him.
Yeah.
And he was giving me what I needed.
Right.
And so I think you're going to have to spend a little bit of time talking to people to make sure that you can give them what they need.
So going back to what John was saying, John, what do you think about this search scenario?
What it sounds real quick, let me jump in. It sounds like what Scott is selling is kind of like strategic planning. Chuck, is that fair? Because what the process he's walked you through may actually have come out of his corporate experience versus
a lot of it has
experience. Because it sounds like corporate strategic planning to me.
Yeah. So let's see. So we start out with mission, vision, and values, and then we start talking through our planning. So he advocates for 12-week year. So you're planning every 3 months. You come up with a weekly non-negotiable schedule. So you do all of that stuff to kind of set yourself up so that you have a system to follow so that you can do all the other stuff. And then he walks you through writing processes for your business and how to hire people, how to train people. So another thing, because there are 4 steps, and in the second step, there's also like having a weekly meeting with your team and, the agenda for the meeting and keeping track of your KPIs. And then, so then there's the hiring and things like that. And then the last bit, I think, is automation. I'm still working on step 3, so I haven't dug as deep into that other stuff, because step 3 is the hiring and all that other good stuff. So,
all right. John.
What?
Why did Chuck hire that guy?
Huh?
Why did Chuck hire him?
Because they had a connection in common. It's an emotional decision to make.
It's always an emotional decision.
Yes, exactly. It's always an emotional decision.
I mean, I rationalized it. If you had asked me when I hired him, I would have said, well, I'm hiring him for all these reasons. But ultimately what it came down to was that he had provided enough advice that had paid off in the past. And I believed, after talking to him quite a bit, that he could solve the other problems I was facing.
Yeah. It's an affinity is strong, right? Yeah. If someone is doing what you like, okay, if you're a, I don't know, I'm trying to use a non-religious example because that's the example that Chuck's using here. But I don't know, if you're like a huge Orioles fan. Okay, and you go to the car mechanic and he's a huge Orioles fan. That's your new car mechanic. And that's I think a similar effect, but it's not like you're just going to go to like a shitty car mechanic because he's an Orioles fan. He's a good Orioles fan. The fact that he's a good car mechanic plays into that. The same thing probably here, but that's what I'm saying with you, Manny, is like people are going to say, oh, this is a guy that like he also is a big fan of books, right? This is he's read a lot of books. I read a lot of books. This is why I would sign up for this. I mean, you still have to have something to offer, but
that's what's not clear, because it is awesome. Like, it is pretty vague, like personal development or
it doesn't matter. Look at the best in the industry, right? Look at Tony Robbins. Date with Destiny. What does that offer you? Or you unleash the power within. You're going to unleash your power.
It is personal development, but
it's pretty fucking vague. Like, but come on.
like he's big enough that he's able to, you know, do those things. But selling personal development by itself is a pretty vague concept for most of us.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go back
You definitely have to give them a reason to buy.
Yeah, I'm going to go back to what I said earlier, which is that starting this as one-on-one coaching makes this problem essentially go away. Because you can, by talking to people, so initially you can go, okay, well, this person wants to do this person wants to do that, I can help them with that, I can help them with that. If you're talking to them one-on-one, you can convince them, right? You're not trying to like convince them via a canned video that you can help them with a dozen different problems. You're talking to them one-on-one and able to convince them that you're able to help them with their specific problem. Makes the conversion process a lot easier. And then you can notice, over time, you notice patterns. You go, okay, well, I've helped 10 coaching clients now who all wanted to launch their first product with an existing audience. Well, now okay, like there's probably enough critical mass here to where we could do this. Or maybe, people are all coming to you and they want help with productivity. And those are just the people that are really willing to spend money. You're kind of like, you're without that kind of information, you're guessing.
So in that case, I'm actually making a pretty generic offer saying, hey, I'm opening up, or I have some coaching space available, and submit here without really being very clear. Hey, is it business coaching? Is it life coaching? Blah, blah. Just asking them, hey, what are some of the challenges, and letting them apply.
Well, the other thing is I've had a few friends that have done what Josh is saying, intending to go to group coaching. And what they found is that, you know what, I helped all 10 people. They were all super happy with the results, but 3 of these people really just knocked it way out of the park. And it turns out that under these certain circumstances, I can really nail it for people. And so then you do the group coaching and you just focus on those 3 case studies that have exceptional results instead of the 10 that have good results.
That makes sense. That does, actually.
Yep.
I got to jump off of here. I got a call to do some consulting, actually. So
good luck.
All right.
I think if I jump off of here, it may kill the call.
Yeah. But if you started it, it will.
Okay.
So, thoughts?
Well, Happy New Year, guys. That's my thoughts. Yeah. Oh, no. We still have one more call. Shit.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I'll come back to the thoughts.
I mean, for me, it comes back to this mastermind, right? I was talking about working on the static site version of devchat.tv, and I've dumped a bunch of time in it just because, it was late and my wife was off doing something. And so I was like, I'll just fiddle with this. But yeah, just talking through things with you guys, I realized that, the highest leverage thing I can do is still sponsorship sales. The next highest thing is emails. And the next highest thing after that is building the processes around putting podcasts out and doing the sales. And so all of those things kind of come together, and, it's like, okay, well, I'm not going to dump a bunch of time into the lower priority stuff. I'm going to focus on right now, priority number 2, because it's Christmas, and priority number 1 is that's a waste of time. But yeah, so just understanding, where things are going to pay off the most for you and making that your priority. I love it when people say priorities. Priorities don't exist. Priority is it doesn't pluralize. One thing's more important than everything else until the next thing's more important than that.
True.
And so, just making that the priority and going, okay, well, I'm going to nail the email stuff, especially since I'm going to CES at the beginning of January. And I'm not sure how much time I'm going to have over the next 2 or 3 weeks to really get this done. So then I can have all that stuff going and make things work. But yeah, just knowing what the priority is. What's the highest leverage thing that I can work on? And right now it's the email. And, in a week, it's probably going to be the sponsorship sales again. But just getting in and doing that work. And then when you get in and do the work, then you sell out all of January and a bunch of February.
I got to jump. I got the call.
All right.
Let's see if it's alive even after he goes. Hey.
It'll run for a minute.
It did. Okay. I think mine will be high bandwidth. Like, this is what we've been talking about. Keeping things like early on, especially early on in a project, you need as much bandwidth, as much information coming your way as you can, and don't prematurely do things to reduce that bandwidth just to make something easier until you get to the point where you're so, your main problem is that you're strapped for time and you're not able to, you're not able to handle the volume anymore.
Mm-hmm. My thought is that don't wait until the new year to start planning and thinking about 2019. This is it. This is the time. This is the perfect week. Actually, the next coming up week is the perfect time to review the year past and plan the year forward. I actually subscribe to the 1% rule, 1 to 2% sometimes, where you should spend 1% of your gross time on planning. So 1% of a year is actually 3.65 days, which we should spend on planning. And 24 hours, it's 0.24 hours, which is around 20 to 30 minutes a day. So 1% of time spent on planning and review is crucial for our growth and business growth and all those things. 1% rule.
I like that guideline.
Nice. Yep.
Yeah. It's really simple because even at a week level, you can see 1% of 7 days is 0.7 days. So you literally get around like 3 to 4 hours to think about the whole thing and see what you should do. Not 0.7, 0.07 days. So, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. We'll see y'all next week.
See ya.
All right, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hey, oh, shit. All right.